I thought it was a death sentence. I thought it was frightening, horrifying, because I knew that dialysis, while available, was not very accessible because it was expensive. The cost at that time was well over $1,000 per week. The first realization I had to come to was accept that my life had totally changed, that I had to make the accommodation and accept that I had to have dialysis every few days simply to remain alive.
Glenn Tillett, a popular Belizean columnist, editor, and activist, did not hide his personal struggles with renal failure. In fact, he shared as much of it in public spaces and on social media to educate the community of the effects of the disease. His sister, Carla Tillett, and his nephew, Tylon Tillett, told us that Glenn's struggles made the family become aware of what the disease is and the care that people need who suffer from renal failure.
We didn't know anything about what dialysis is all about, but through Glenn, we found out. But what we learned more about dialysis was the struggles he had with the system that he had to work in, that he had to be in to be able to get dialysis, maintain a certain quality of living, and the high costs, some of the obstacles, some of the freedom that we take for granted, where food and drink is concerned.
Glenn, being the public persona that he is, made the Belizean society aware of what are some of the challenges facing dialysis patients throughout the nation. I think at one point he even talked about the quality of care that is distributed across between the different agencies that does dialysis in Belize. Myself being a part of the K.H.M.H, we had various discussions about the quality of dialysis service that K.H.M.H offers.
Tillett first began to draw a steady audience to his column in the Amandala newspaper called Between These Lines. It was a title he would take with him more recently to Facebook, touching on issues of national concern in a comprehensive and eloquent way as only he could. Glenn's media colleague, Evan Moshyde, put into perspective the kind of writer Glenn was.
He was really the Swiss Army knife of personalities that we had. And so while he may have been the editor of the newspaper, it has to be pointed out that he was also very involved in our endeavors with sports. In fact, he was for a time the general manager of our championship winning Raiders basketball team. He was not a one cylinder guy. Yes, he was a great writer, but I think his writing was made even better because he was plugged into so many different things. First of all, it was must read. When that started in the newspaper, that's must read. So you did the editorial, you did the publisher, and between his lines from Glenn Tillett was must read.
When Tillett left the Amandala in the late 1990s, he became a political advisor. Former Belize City Mayor and Minister of Government Joe Coye relived those memories when Glenn was his right hand.
I decided to make my debut in municipal electoral politics, and that was in the year 1989. And it was on that campaign trail I first met him. One of the distinguishing thing about that relationship was that when I met him, he was an activist for the UDP. And here I was a candidate for the PUP. But there's one thing I learned from that first period of our meeting is that there are times if we only could sit around and talk with each other, we will come to accept that we have more in common that could bind us than the differences that divide us. And that's one of the things I remember Glenn for always. He was my closest confidant and my advisor. We won the elections, and Glenn went on with me into national politics. At least he walked with me all those years that Glenn must live on. and he must live on through us. That is what I would like to see for him.
Carla Tillett said the ICU staff at the K.H.M.H did their best to give her brother the best possible care, for which she is forever grateful.
Need to commend them. The fact that they have to provide care to these patients round the clock and still have to meet the families and be able to speak to the families in regards to all our questions and our cares and concerns. They are an amazing group of people. And we need to make that the country aware that they have an amazing staff there.
Reporting for News 5, I'm Marion Ali.